Hello everyone and welcome to our final Stanley Cup playoff prediction video. Today we're going to be predicting who I think will win the Stanley Cup final, with all that coming up right now. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here at the Edmonton Talking Channel. As usual, before we get into the video, don't forget to like this video and subscribe down below. Thank you all of your support. I'll never do this without you guys, so if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe button down below. Don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section below so we can also discuss today's video. Now, as usual, we'll first recap what happened in round 3 of this year's playoffs. So we'll start in the Eastern Conference. Panthers took on the Rangers. It was a really interesting series. Game 1, it was all Panthers, scored a late first period goal. All they needed, were able to show the Rangers 3-0. Second game, Panthers mostly outplayed the Rangers. It was 1-1 for most of this game after the teams shared first period goals, but in overtime, I think it was Barclay Goodrow was able to score and give the Rangers a 2-1 overtime victory to help New York tie the series up. So that was really good stuff there for the Rangers. Then in game 3, we saw the Rangers take on the Florida Panthers. That was an interesting game. Panthers opened the scoring, Rangers took a 2-1 lead, Panthers tied up at 2. Then the Rangers took a 4-2 lead to the third period. Looked like they were going to run away with it. Panthers were able to get a couple of goals, heavily outplayed the Rangers in the third period. It went 4-4 to overtime, where in overtime, Alex Wennberg would get the overtime winner to give the Rangers a 5-4 overtime win and a 2-1 series lead. Then game 4, really back and forth game. I think it was 2-2 going to overtime. Once again, Panthers outplaying the Rangers, and this time the Panthers were able to get an early power play goal in overtime from Stan Reinhart to give them a 3-2 overtime victory, tie the series up at 2. Goes back to New York, 1-1 for most of this game. Then midway through the third period, Anton Lundell was able to get the 2-1 goal, gave the Panthers a lead. Bennett would get an empty netter to make it 3-1. Lafreniere made it 3-2, but it was too little too late. Panthers held on, 3-2 win in this game 5, 3-2 series lead. Going to game 6, and in game 6, the Florida Panthers were able to down the New York Rangers 2-1, thanks to a couple of goals from Tarasenko and Bennett, one late in the first, one midway through the third period, and were able to hold on to beat the New York Rangers and take them down in 6 games. So a very good series win for the Panthers to advance their second consecutive Stanley Cup final. Meanwhile, for the Edmonton Oilers, Dallas Stars, that was another interesting series. Oilers took a 1-0 series lead with a 3-2 double overtime victory thanks to Connor McDavid. Then the Dallas Stars were able to get a couple of third period goals, break a 1-1 tie, and beat the Edmonton Oilers 3-1 to tie the series up at 1 apiece. Then in game 3 of the series, we saw the Oilers take an early 2-0 series lead, blew it. Stars were able to get out to a 3-2 lead. It was 3-3 going to the third period, where in the third period, Stars would once again score twice, give them a 5-3 win, and give them a 2-1 lead. Then in game 4, it was a complete flip of the script. Dallas was able to start out fast and take a 2-0 lead in game 4, but then the Oilers would score 5 straight and take the game 5-2 to tie the series to 2 apiece, heading to game 5. In game 5, the Oilers were able to get up to a 3-0 lead and held on to beat the Dallas Stars 3-1 to take a 3-2 series lead. And then in game 6 of the series, we saw the Edmonton Oilers wind up downing the Dallas Stars 2-1 after taking an early 2-0 lead in the game, and the Oilers were able to come away with the victory as they wind up winning 2-1 in the game, and they won the series in 6 over the Dallas Stars. So the Oilers and the Panthers move on. Now, how does this stack up against my predictions from the conference final prediction video? Well, I predicted the Florida Panthers to win the series in 6 games. It's exactly what happened. Panthers wound up winning in 6 games over the New York Rangers. That was a fantastic series, really highly entertaining, but I think the Panthers did deserve to win that series, and they did wind up winning it. So very good stuff there for Florida. Meanwhile, in the Dallas-Edmonton series, I predicted Dallas to win this series in 5 games. It wound up being Edmonton in 6. So I'm a little bit surprised by that. I thought Dallas would have had a little bit more oomph, but after playing back-to-back defending Stanley Cup champs, last year's Cup champs in round 1, 2 years ago's Cup champs in round 2, the Stars just looked gassed. They looked tired. Andre wasn't overly great. And I think it was a major reason why this Edmonton team wound up doing it. Edmonton also had really good special teams. Their team defense was a lot better than in previous years, and they were able to outman Dallas. So I was right for both game and team on the Florida side. I was not right for either game or prediction on the Edmonton side. So now we have a cup final of the Panthers and the Oilers. So this is going to be the first all-time playoff game between the Edmonton Oilers and the Florida Panthers, as this is once again East versus West, so it's the first time that these two teams have faced off in the Stanley Cup final. Really good things there. there for both of these sides. Panthers had to go through Tampa in round 1, Boston in round 2, and the Rangers in the conference final. Oilers had to go through the Kings in round 1, Canucks in round 2, and the Stars in round 3. So both teams had really tough roads to get here. Like I said, first time these two teams to play against each other in the Cup final. This is also going to be the Oilers' 8th all-time Cup final appearance. So the Oilers have been to 7 Cup finals in their previous history. They lost in 1983, then won in 84, 85, 87, 88, and 90. So they won 5 Cups in a span of, I think, 6 or 7 years. And then they lost in 2006 in their most recent Stanley Cup final appearance to the Carolina Hurricanes. So they have been to a couple of Stanley Cup finals before. They're, I think, top 5 in Stanley Cup final wins, so they do have a lot of Stanley Cup success, but just not in this era of the Edmonton Oilers. So interesting stuff there. For the Florida Panthers, this is going to be the 3rd all-time Stanley Cup final appearance. For the Panthers, they've made 2 Stanley Cup final appearances before this. That was back in '96 when they got swept by the Colorado Avalanche in the Cup final, and last year in 2023 when they lost in 5 to the Golden Knights. So this is going to be their 3rd all-time playoff series for the Florida Panthers in the Cup final. So really good stuff there for the Panthers and the Oilers. Oilers looking for their first Cup win since 1990. Panthers are looking for the first Cup win ever. So interesting stuff there. If you look at their offense, defense, and goaltending, on the offensive side, I have to give the edge to Edmonton, just given the fact they have more top-end talent. However, I think 1 to 4, the Panthers had the way deeper roster. Give me guys like Lewis, Stroiden, Lundell, and Tarasenko on their 3rd line, instead of guys like Perry and McLeod and Kane and Ryan and all those guys around the bottom 6 of Florida. I think Edmonton is nowhere near as deep as Florida, but Edmonton does have way better top-end talent in McDavid and Draisaitl than the Panthers do, so I would give the slight edge, just given they have better top-end talent to Edmonton on the forward group, but defensively, I think Florida is a really good team. Defensively, I give Florida the edge. I have to. They're a more complete defensive team. I would take 1 through 3 of their deep pairs way more than Edmonton's. I know Bouchard's having one heck of a playoff run. He's having a great stretch in the playoffs. He's been fantastic for Edmonton, but you need a team of defenders to play really well, not just one. Ekholm and Nurse are all right, but Nurse hasn't even looked overly great in the playoffs this year. Did look all right against Dallas, but hasn't been overly great, and I think there's a very likely chance that the Panthers have a more deeper, more complete, and more rounded out blue line at this point in time, so I think Florida has the edge on the defensive end. Goaltending-wise, have to give it to Bobrovsky. He's playing at an all-star level. He just outdueled goaltenders like Swayman, Shesterkin, and Vasilevsky, while Skinner lost his job in a couple of games in round 2. So as much as Skinner has played a lot better and did have some really good stuff against Dallas, I gotta give the edge on the goaltending side to the Florida Panthers and Bobrovsky. So in my opinion, here's my predictions. I'm going with Florida. Now here's my reasons as to why I'm picking Florida over the Edmonton Oilers. Now I will come out and admit it, I was not expecting the Edmonton Oilers to make it very far. I was expecting the Oilers to be out in round 1 or round 2. They surprised me and got to the Cup final, and I'll give them credit where credit is due. Team defense has been a lot better this year. They got in some more depth scoring, which has been a lot better than in previous years. Skinner, like I said, after being benched, he's found his game. He's looked fantastic. All really good things for the Edmonton Oilers, but there are a few factors here that I think will tip the scales in the Florida Panthers' favor. 1, as much as Andre's a good goaltender, he was a little bit tired, plus the Oilers have had to face Seelovs and they've had to face Talbot. No offense to Seelovs and Talbot, at this point in time, they're not anywhere near top 10, top 15 level goaltenders. And Andre, like I said, it seemed like he was a little bit tired. But Bobrovsky's going to be rested, he's going to be poised, and he's, in my opinion, a top 10 goaltender right now in the NHL. So they're going to have a much different task to face and Sergei Bobrovsky than they've had to in the past. On top of that, you look at how Barkov's line has done defending some of the top players. There's a stat that was put out there. That's Barkov's line was able to shut down Kucherov's line to 0 goals when they were on the ice, Pasternak's line to 1 goal while he was on the ice, and Panarin to 0 goals while they were on the ice. So Barkov is a fantastic two-way forward and has been able to help shut down some of the opponent's top-end players. And if you look at what happened with the Vancouver Canucks, who gave the Oilers the best run for their money, what happened when McDavid went out against a pretty good two-way center and JT Miller? He was shut down pretty well. So I think there's a blueprint there for the Panthers to find some way to shut down. Now it's going to have to be a full team effort, but I think they have the blueprint there to shut down McDavid. Next up, like I said, they have not faced replace the guy like Bobrovsky, you go for the Florida Panthers side. They just went from going out not only Bobrovsky out, Shesterkin, Swayman, and Vasilevsky, but the Panthers' offense was actually quite consistent against those guys. They did really good against Vasilevsky, really good against Swayman, really good against Shesterkin, even though Shesterkin was fantastic in the conference final. And now they're going to play Stuart Skinner. No offense to Stuart Skinner, he's definitely looked a lot better over the past couple of weeks, but there was a lot of talk that he had played his last game in Edmonton just before he got back in against Vancouver, and at that point in time he had one of the worst stats amongst goaltenders who started the first 20 games in their history. Now, no offense to other teams, Florida's going to pepper him with shots. We're going to see what Skinner's made of. Not saying he can't help the Oilers win the Stanley Cup, but I'm saying it's a much easier beast in my opinion than guys like Shesterkin, Swayman, or Vasilevsky for the Florida Panthers. So that's another thing. And last thing here is the Florida Panthers are an extremely physical team. They take your top players and they grind them down to a pulp. We saw them do that with Boston. We saw them do it with Tampa. We saw them do it with New York, like we just told you. New York's top guys in Panarin, Kreider, Zibanejad were non-existent. Boston's top guys in Pastrnak, Marchand, non-existent. Tampa's top guys in Kucherov was barely able to get anything going. Stamkos was alright, and Point was alright at some points too, but they were not able to get going to the point where the Panthers guys were going. And I think they're going to do the exact same thing with McDavid and Draisaitl. And what happened the last two times, we didn't really see much physical stuff happen in the Dallas series, and Edmonton was really able to smooth their way past LA. But what happened the last two times, the Oilers have had to face physicality in the playoffs. That was the round 2 of this year's playoffs against the Canucks, and it took them to 7 games and a nail-biter of a 7th game to get past them, and that physicality frustrated the Edmonton Oilers. And then you also had last year against Vegas, where Vegas absolutely frustrated the Edmonton Oilers with their physicality. And I think Florida's on another level after out-Bostoning Boston. So in my opinion, I think there's a very likely chance here that the Florida Panthers will be able to be physical with the Edmonton Oilers, like the Edmonton Oilers have not seen these playoffs. The Canucks are able to do it pretty well. The Florida Panthers are the Canucks on steroids and a lot bigger. So in my opinion, I think that the Oilers have not met a physical force like the Panthers this year. I think Bobrovsky's a much better goaltender than anyone that the Oilers have played this year. I think that Barkov is able to shut down McDavid. I think he'll be able to do a pretty good job of doing that. Maybe he won't be able to hold him to no goals, but I think Barkov is the perfect sort of player to help shut down McDavid. I think the Panthers are going to have an easier time getting past Skinner than they were able to do against Swayman, Vasilevsky, or Shesterkin. So in my opinion, as we sit here right now, I'm picking Florida Panthers in 6 games. Now, like I said, I might be completely wrong. Oilers have proved me wrong all playoff long. Maybe they want to bring home the cup to Canada. But in my opinion, at this point in time, I have the Florida Panthers winning the Stanley Cup. So I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on all of this down in the comment section below. Do you agree with any of my points? Do you think Florida does wind up winning the cup? Do you think Edmonton winds up winning the cup? I'd love to hear who you think wins the cup down in the comment section below, and I'd love to hear who you guys think. Personally, I'm rooting for the Florida Panthers, just biasly, given the fact that not only are the Oilers sort of a hated team of mine, given the fact that the Vegas Golden Knights, which are one of my favorite teams, and the Seattle Kraken, which are one of my favorite teams, are in their same division. But on top of that, I've already said this before, I love seeing teams win their first ever cup in franchise history, which was one of the reasons why I was so happy Vegas won last year. I'll be ecstatic if the Panthers are able to win their first in franchise history. So we'll have to wait and see exactly what happens there. But that's my opinion on those two things. That's what I'm cheering for biasly, but unbiasedly, with my opinion taken completely out of it, I've seen the Panthers do wind up winning in 6 games. So I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on who you have winning the cup down in the comment section below. That's what I'm going to talk about for today. I'm going to tell you this video, and if you're like to subscribe down below. Thank you for your support and hello to all of you guys. So if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe button down below. Don't forget to leave a comment down in the comment section below so I'll discuss today's video. I also do a blog talking about news, rumors, analysis, stuff like that, so check that out. Leave a link in the description below, and I can't see you guys all for next video. See you guys soon.